What's up, everybody? This is Marty Martin here. This is the Geeknik podcast. I am your host. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I'm doing a video on uh, geeks and gamers, and Jeremy, who's founder and the head of Geeks and Gamers, is doing a video on Leslye Headland, who Leslye Headland is now going to be doing more Star Wars movies and a Star Wars project, I think a Star Wars show. And one thing that I've noticed, just to backtrack, she was Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant. She was Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant. Okay. Now, Jeremy has been mentioning that every single time when her name is brought up. So whenever she's brought up, he will always say, "Oh, uh, a former personal assistant of Harvey Weinstein, Leslye Headland, or he will always say that every single time. Just recently, whenever she comes up. And let's check this out right here.
Please, Queen Kathleen Kennedy.
Do you have ideas?
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I think I've had ideas for Star Wars movies since I was 13 years old, maybe.
What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Jeremy coming to you with another video, and today we have some very interesting details about Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, Leslye Headland. Also,
You see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? Let's continue right here. Let's continue this idiotic statement.
So, Lucasfilm's latest hire to run a female-centric Star Wars show on Disney+. Isn't that very interesting? So some of these articles are very eye-opening. Now, one of them is back from 2012, all the way back in 2012, that Entertainment Weekly still has posted, which I find to be surprising. I also want to give a shout-out to Geeky Candy, part of the Geeks and Gamers team. Candace has been gathering a lot of this information for me, and she brought it to me. She's very unhappy
Let's move on.
that we're going to talk about. First, we're going to go over to Entertainment Weekly. Look at that headline. Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant writes tell-all play. Sorta. Now, this was back in 2012 of February, and
This is true. You guys should check it out. It's a very interesting article about Leslye Headland. You learn a lot about her when she was Weinstein's personal assistant, and it is quite surprising.
interesting stuff going on here. Now, look at the opening here. Leslye Headland loves Harvey Weinstein, and he most likely loves her back. Let's read on. Leslye Headland loves Harvey Weinstein despite having worked as his personal assistant, and he most likely loves her back. Even after she penned the play Assistance about an ill-treated young personal assistant at a fictional corporation called the Weisinger company headed by a demanding and patient perfectionist named Daniel Weisinger. At the very least, the Oscar-courting head of the Weinstein Company isn't holding a grudge against Headland. Well, isn't that very nice of Harvey? Harvey, good job, buddy.
I'm gonna stop right here. Okay. So let's talk about love right here. And it is weird. But when people say love, people say love in different types of way. People say love in a lower context, such as like. I like it more, so I'm gonna replace that word with love because it's more than liking it. I don't know if that makes sense. Or if you admire someone, You admire their work, you admire their work ethic, you admire their vision, their innovation, their drive. You know, people will say, "Oh, I love so and so." Like with me, Martin Scorsese, my favorite film director. I admire his work ethic, his artistry, his creativity, his vision, his driven personality, his love and passion for film. I love Martin Scorsese for that. I really love that guy. So you see, I don't love him like in a romantic way. I don't think she's implying it to be like romantic or anything. I think she's implying by admiration, and Harvey probably admires her too. Okay? Now, is that weird since Harvey Weinstein was a serial rapist? Okay, yeah. But you also have to understand people have to kiss up to movie producers in Hollywood because if you don't, they will ruin you. That's the things about like people from Geeks and Gamers and World Class Bullshitters and everything, John Talk, they don't understand that. They really don't understand how a lot of the industry works. Okay? If you don't kiss up to the producers or your agents or your managers, they're going to ruin your career. They're going to ruin you. Nobody wants their career ruined. Nobody wants their passion to be tarnished because you're out of the job. You're out of the job. Everybody knows that when you call out somebody, your career is over. Look at Corey Feldman, okay? I mean, it's great that he came out and said that he was molested and he was exposing people, but what happened to him? Blackballed. Never name one big major movie that he has done since the early 90s. Name one. None. None. He's only been doing straight to video or DVD movies that you could actually just get at Redbox or Walmart that nobody even notice them or buy. You know, that's what happened to his career. Then Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser called out a person, a guy, a producer that actually sexually assaulted him, harassed him, and assaulted him. And what did Brendan Fraser do? He reported on him. He said, "Hey, this guy did this to me. This powerful guy did this to me." They cut him out of the industry. Cut him out of the industry. After The Mummy 3, like he's been doing like smaller other mediocre roles like Journey to the Center of the Earth. Then I think he did a voice role in an animated film, in a big budget one. But his level of acting gigs were completely gone, like the Mummy trilogy. I mean, Brendan Fraser was huge in the late 90s and early 2000s. Even in the mid 2000s, all the way until The Mummy 3, which that movie sucked, but he was still an A-list actor. But ever since he reported the story of the guy, the executive person assaulting him, they cut him out. They cut opportunities for him to be a part of. So now, thank God that Brendan Fraser is back in the game because, I mean, the Me Too movement actually helped Brendan. It actually helped him because now people were backing him up. They were supporting him. So Warner Brothers and DC, they decided to have him play as Robot Man in Doom Patrol. So he's back in the game. And Richard Gere. You guys remember Richard Gere? You know, one of the biggest movie stars ever. Ever. He was like a contemporary Humphrey Bogart. A ladies' man. Big star. What has he been... What has he done lately? Where did he go? What happened? What happened? I'll tell you what happened. Richard Gere criticized China government for being an oppressive nation and being anti-freedom, and criticized how they treated their people. Rule number one, if you work in Hollywood, you can't say anything bad about China. You can't say anything bad about it. Because China is our number one target. They're our number one audience. We make more money from China than we do from the United States, depending on what film it is. But most of the blockbuster major films, such as the Marvel films, the DC films, or the Star Wars films, we rely on China. So like The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi was a success here in the States, but it didn't do well in China. So that was a huge disappointment. But because Richard Gere criticized China, they had to let him go. Hollywood just said, "Oh, okay, Richard, you went way out of line. Okay, we gotta let you go, man. We can't give you these major roles anymore. Okay, your career, you're down at the bottom. That's it." It's almost like going from being a homicide detective back to being a highway patrol officer. You work your way up to the top. You always wanted to be on the top. That was your dream goal, and you worked hard. You worked your butt off to get up to that position, and that's taken away from you, and they forcefully put you back down, and you can't get back up. The only person that really went from the bottom and came back up was Robert Downey Jr. and Mel Gibson. Other than that, nobody else. Nobody. That's how a lot of them became has-beens. For two reasons. One, they were getting too old, and then also, they were getting blackballed. And some of them were getting blackmailed, and that's another thing. You could get blackmailed in Hollywood. They pick some that, like, they'll take something from their pocket and say, hey, if you do this, we'll release this to the media. Okay? You got some skeletons in your closet, man. Alright? Oh, okay. You want to do this? Alright. We're going to have somebody accuse you of rape. We're going to have somebody kill you and make it look like an accident or make it look like a suicide. This happens, man. This happens. This no conspiracies or stuff. This is what they do. This is what they do. Why do you think, some of the false accusations that occur in Hollywood or even in life, majority of them don't go to court. They don't. That's why when people say, "Oh, there's a small percentage of, people, there are false accusation cases in court." Well, yeah, that's in court, not in life. All you got to do is make an accusation towards someone, and that person's image is tarnished. That's all that can happen. You say something negative in Hollywood, well, there's going to be an accusation. So what do you want to do? You want to say nice things about me? Or you want to be destroyed by a false accusation? The choice is yours. This stuff happens. So I have a lot of sympathy and empathy for the people in Hollywood. I really do. Except for Meryl Streep, Oprah, because these people, like, oh my goodness, they were really with Harvey Weinstein. They were wow. They did business together. They worked together. Like, they were at a whole other level. But these other actors, if they want to keep their job, you gotta say nice things about them. You have to. That's just the way it works. If you say negative things about it, your job is gone. Somebody said, I'm actually going to do an episode about talking about how blackmail works in Hollywood. And what's the biggest enemy or the one thing that Hollywood fears? I'm going to say this and then I'm going to continue on with the previous subject. The number one enemy or system that Hollywood fears, even actors too, 3 letters. The IRS. The IRS. Because a lot of these producers and corporate guys, they ain't paying their taxes. They are not paying their taxes. And they're getting perks, and they're being, they're being given a pass because their buddies are politicians. They're politicians. So these politicians are, they cut them some slack. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, I know you, we did this movie together, you're pretty cool and everything, I'll let you go, you're cool, don't worry. And it's all corrupt. Serious corruption. And I'm going to explain how corruption of Ronald Reagan, Schwarzenegger, Al Franken, Clint Eastwood, who else? John Wayne too. Even though he wasn't in politics, he had a big influence in politics. And just give you the history of politics in Hollywood. All right, we're gonna talk about politics in Hollywood, how it was established. But back to Jeremy here from Geeks and Gamers, talking about Leslye Headland. Always just bringing up saying that she was Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant. What does that have to do with anything here? What does that have to do? I don't understand it. Jeremy, come on. Tell me. Why do you have to bring that up? Why do you have to bring that up? It has nothing to do with her creativity, with her ideas, with her propositions, or her imagination, creativity. It has nothing to do with that. That's completely irrelevant. Unless she's going to apply her experience or the things that she, I don't know, participated in with Weinstein and put it into the media that she will be distributing, but what? We don't. What does that have to do with anything? Oh, it's because she was associated, with Weinstein and everything. A personal assistant. Like she probably saw things. She probably knew a lot of things about it. But come on, a lot of people in Hollywood were associated with Epstein, Weinstein, all these people. Some of them are people that we actually enjoy their content. The only thing is they're in the closet. The majority of them are producers too. You got to separate the art from the artist. That's what I do. I'm an artist. I have the ability. Some people don't. It's actually an ability. It's an ability. Because a lot of it involves forgiveness. And a lot of that's very hard for a lot of people. A lot of people have a very hard time for that. Some people have a hard time with sympathizing people, empathizing people. Some people have a hard time with that. And, like for example, R. Kelly. Okay, that guy is a sick pervert, a monster. I'm still gonna be rocking to Ignition Remix. I'm still gonna listen to I Believe I Can Fly, Bump and Grind, Same Girl, and I'm definitely gonna keep. I'm going to watch that masterpiece, Trapped in the Closet. Man was a genius, but he was a sick man. I'm still gonna listen to it. Doesn't matter, because it has nothing to do with him. All right, that's separate from him. So like Leslye Headland, if she makes some good content, I'm going to separate the content from her, the person. And she didn't do anything wrong. Why is Jeremy bringing this up? She didn't do anything wrong. From what we know. What, did she stand by and watch someone get raped or anything? Or was she aware of it? Maybe she was aware of it. But if you think about it, everybody was aware of it. Everybody. Just like what I explained to you. Okay? You do anything, you say anything, they will go after you. They're like the freaking mafia, man. Freaking mobsters. I can't even imagine. Let me tell you, that's scary. That's some scary stuff. If you think about it, that your boss is a serial rapist and pedophile, and he's very powerful and influential and has money to get away with things, and you're gonna try to report it on the corrupt LAPD that are always getting ransomed? Come on now. Come on now. See, that's why I don't knock on a lot of celebrities there. I don't, because I'm not in their shoes. But based on from what I hear and people that I know that are in the industry, some of the things that they get into, it's scary, man. It's really scary. So it is what it is. But she hasn't done anything wrong. She hasn't been accused of anything. And even if she's been accused of something, that doesn't mean she did it. It's not like she's a racist, a homophobe, a xenophobe, Islamophobe, whatever, any phobe. Nothing. She hasn't done any of that. And okay, so what? She's criticized white people, her own people. Okay? Who fucking cares? Who cares, man? Nobody cares. You know what I care about? I care about what is she going to make. Bring it on. Let me see it. Let me see what you got. I'm going to give her a chance. I never knock on people for, if there's a producer or a director that I may not like, I don't like the director or the producer, but I may like the content. So before I even come to a conclusion, show me the finished product. Just show it to me, okay? Then I will make up my mind. Then I will come to a conclusion of how I think of it. Did I like it or did I not like it, and why? That's just how it is. I don't for example, I don't like the whole identity politics either. Like how they made Ariel black for Little Mermaid. I'm not upset because she's black. I'm just saying that is so lazy. That is so dumb, and they're only doing that to exploit black culture. That's what they're doing it. It's all exploitation. If you just make a new black character, a new one, they don't want to. They don't want to at all. They don't want to do anything original, especially for people of color and especially black people. I'm not a fan of that, but it may be a good movie. It may be good. You'll never know. I was wrong. Like I saw Aladdin, the new one with Will Smith in it. First time I saw it, I did not like it. But because the acting threw me off. The Jafar, the guy who played as Jafar, that threw me off. Okay? Because he's one of my favorite villains in the Disney films. And to see how he was not scared, he was not intimidated, it was just, that threw me off. But when I saw it a second time, I told myself, you know what? It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's a pretty good movie. It's decent. It's decent. And then it was on this movie site on my computer, and it was playing, and I said, let me watch some of it. I watched like half of it because it was already like midway through, and I actually enjoyed it more. So I gave it time. It grew on me. I didn't like it. I wouldn't say I didn't even hate it. I just didn't like it. I didn't dig it. But I ended up liking it later in the future. I'm an open-minded guy. Because things like that have happened in the past, I always give things the benefit of the doubt. Some things, they just grow on me. Like Batman vs. Superman. I liked it when I first saw it. Now I hate it. I just don't. The Force Awakens, I loved it when I saw it. Opening night. I loved it. But then I came home and I was thinking about it. And then I realized that it was just a carbon copy of A New Hope. It was a copy. And then immediately, I didn't like it anymore. I realized I enjoyed it because they added nostalgia. That's what brought a smile to my face. It gave me a nostalgic feel. And Jurassic World. I loved Jurassic World when I first saw it. When I was watching that movie opening night, oh my gosh, I was loving it. A month later, I hate that movie. It disgusts me, makes me sick. Why did I like it when I was first watching it? Because nostalgia. They were making references to the original Jurassic Park, the very first one. There were a lot of callbacks. And the first time seeing the T-Rex again on the big screen, seeing Rexy come back. But the story was not good. It was bland, and it seemed like it was something that Disney would do. It was too lighthearted. I just, hindsight is 2020. You may hate something, and then you end up loving it. You may love something and end up hating it. See, life is funny that way. Like Forrest Gump said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. I always give things a chance. Whether I like the producer or not, or the director, I may not like them. But let me see what you got. Give me what you got, Rian Johnson. I saw Knives Out. It was funny. I liked that movie. Knives Out was. I really liked it. I really liked Knives Out. When I watched it, I said, "This is Rian Johnson's movie. This is what he should have stuck with. He shouldn't have done The Last Jedi. Last Jedi was not his thing. Knives Out was his thing. Looper is his thing. Brick is his thing. That's his stuff, not The Last Jedi. It just didn't. It didn't fit. Just like Jurassic World for Colin Trevorrow, I don't think it fits with Colin. I don't think he understands the feel of Jurassic World, the Jurassic Park franchise, because it doesn't gravitate you. It's just like it's empty. There's no personality. That's the thing. There's no personality. And it's not a movie that I will say, like, you know what? I want to watch Jurassic World. I feel like watching it. Like, no. I've seen it 2 to 3 times. I've seen the movie 3 times. That's all I need to see. Maybe in the next 30 years, I might want to see it again. Maybe. But Jurassic Park and the Lost World, Jurassic Park, that's it. That it should have been left like that. But yeah, let's look at James Gunn. James Gunn, a film director that has a sick, twisted, perverted sense of humor that made jokes about pedophilia, incest, having sex with babies, gross things. But this was like 10 years ago, like 10 to 13 years ago. And he said he changed. He changed, which is, people change. People change. People don't believe in redemption anymore. People don't believe in change. People think that, once this type of person, always this type of person. That's how messed up our society is. That's really messed up. We gotta change. If someone asks for forgiveness and they turn their life around, give them a chance. Okay, you learned your lesson and move on. We move on. So he said he changed his ways. He was very immature, but a lot of people were disgusted by that. I was too. It was very disturbing. And but there's no he did not he's not a pedophile. He's not a rapist. He just makes some sick jokes about it that's very shocking. Like hardcore. Oh my gosh. But he makes good stuff. Super, oh my gosh. With what's his name from The Office? He plays as Dwight in it. Gosh, I can't remember, but he's the main character in it. Super, Guardians of the Galaxy Part 1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Those are my top 3 favorite Marvel movies. They're on my top 3. Guardians 1 and 2. They're so good. They're so good. And James Gunn made those movies. And now he's doing the sequel to Suicide Squad, The Suicide Squad, and a lot of people are excited for it. They are excited to see The Suicide Squad, and one of the reasons why is because James Gunn is directing it and writing it. People are excited that James Gunn is a part of it. But, remember, it's interesting because there are people excited about it, but regardless of his tweets, we are still excited. We think he's going to fix it. I think he will. I think he will make the DCEU a little bit better. I really think so. And, based on his work with the Guardians films, even Super too, I think the Suicide Squad is very good for him. And now they finished filming. I think it's gonna be a success. I think it's gonna be really good. I'm crossing my fingers. Crossing my fingers. But yeah, I don't understand what Jeremy and all the other guys they keep saying that about Leslye Headland. Former Harvey Weinstein personal assistant Leslye Headland. Get the fuck out of here. Really? That is no. And that's not fair either. That's just completely not fair. That's the thing about a lot of these people part of the fandom menace. They don't give people the chance. They really don't. Just because a person makes one bad movie, that doesn't mean they're a bad film director. Okay? They just did a movie that was not for them to make. It was not their genre. Just because you may like a genre, that doesn't mean that genre is for you to make. I'm trying to think of some movie directors that, they've made one consistent one, like for example, Martin Scorsese directed New York, New York. It's a musical. A lot of people don't know about this movie. He directed a musical with Liza Minnelli and Robert De Niro. I personally like it. I know it has a lot of flaws, but I enjoyed it. Now, the problem with it was that it didn't feel like a Martin Scorsese movie per se. And it just didn't fit. Like, there was something odd about it. Like, this is not... No, this is weird. This is weird for Scorsese. So it just didn't work for him. Or David Lynch, his famous controversial film, Dune. You watch that movie, this is not a Lynch movie. Why did David Lynch do this? What was he thinking? This guy did Mulholland Drive, he did Blue Velvet, Lost Highway, Inland Empire, the classics, man, Twin Peaks. The guy's a genius. A damn genius. And he does this movie called Dune that is it's a sci-fi adventure film based on a best-selling novel, and it just wasn't good, and it didn't feel like a David Lynch movie. And The movie was so bad that even David Lynch wanted his name to be taken out of the film. He didn't want to see his name on it. So, but that movie wasn't for him. It just wasn't. Or George Lucas when he did Red Tails about the Tuskegee Airmen. That movie sucked. It was horrible. Like, what in the world is this? George, World War II drama films are not for you. This guy tried to make a World War II Star Wars. It was so cringy and odd, weird, and it was his last movie that he directed. It was horrible. There are just some genres that are not for you to make. Probably the one film director that's able to do numerous types of genres that are pretty good would be Steven Spielberg. Spielberg has done period films. He's done action adventure films. He's done science fiction films. He's done dramas. He's done historical films. He's done biographical films. He's done fantasy films. A lot of others too, and horror. The guy is a genius, but he's an exception. There's a lot of film directors that can't do that. And I believe Rian Johnson, that's what happened to him with The Last Jedi. That's what happened. So, cut him some slack. Now, the guy is a jerk. The way he talks to not even just fans, but to ordinary people. He's a big crybaby. I understand that. That he should be called out for. But he shouldn't be bashed or shamed for just making a bad movie. Okay? Let him go. Okay? Joel Schumacher ain't nobody's bashing him or calling him bad names. They're just saying this guy did a bad movie. He did a bad Batman movie. We just let that go. Rian Johnson, a lot of people, they're not letting it go. Move on. That's the thing about a lot of people in serious fandoms like this. The movie came out in 2018, 2017? Yeah, 2017. Now we're in 2020. It's like 2.5 years later. We're still talking about it? Get out of here. You guys are stuck in the past. Stick with the future, man. Stick with the future. Just let it go. It's over. It's done. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't understand why Jeremy always has to bring up, oh, former personal assistant of Harvey Weinstein, Leslye Headland, and everything. That has nothing to do with her upcoming project. Has nothing to do with it. You're just adding that to give a more reason to shame her or to, protest against her position of making an upcoming Star Wars project. You don't want her to make that project. So by doing that, by showing how you don't want her to do it, you bring up things that have no connection to the content. Harvey Weinstein, Star Wars, it has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with it. So why are you going to bring it up? Why are you going to bring it up? Who cares? Nobody cares, and it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. She's already been selected. She's going to do the Star Wars film or the Star Wars series that she's going to do, and that's it. That's it. Move on. It's over. That's what I do. I move on. Okay? I move on. Yeah, The Rise of Skywalker sucked. It's a stupid ending. It really negatively affected the story arc of just Luke and Leia, everybody in the Disney trilogy. But I'm not bitching about it anymore. It's done. I have At my home, I have the 6 films. I'm never gonna buy the Disney movies, okay? Because they're just bad. I just don't like them. Not because of the identity politics or virtue signaling or all of that crap. It's because it's not good writing. It's just lazy. I look at it from an artist's point of view. That's the thing. Some people are looking at it from a political point of view, like they're looking for the feminist, you know, virtual signaling, stuff like that. I don't look for that. I pay attention to the dialogue, the editing, the sound mixing. You're talking to a guy that would watch a movie blindfolded and just listen to the sound editing, the sound mixing. That's how much a freaking movie nerd I am. Like, I'm not a movie geek, I'm a movie nerd. I'm freaking weird. Pay attention to those little things. So I think, well, my mindset is totally different. My eyes are looking at different things, paying attention to other stuff. The virtue signaling of political correctness, all those things, that comes second. Like, I'll notice it's like, oh yeah, that's right there. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a little politically correct. Yeah, that's a little virtual signaling right there. Okay. Wow, this is bad dialogue right here. No normal person would say that. That's just it. Or I'll just say, did you hear that? The mixing didn't sound right with that. That was a delayed thump. That was very delayed. And the Disney trilogy has a lot of flaws regarding the writing and even the technical parts. And I just get frustrated. But yeah, that's it for this video. And also, I don't bash geeks and gamers. I don't want to. I'm not bashing geeks and gamers. I'm criticizing Jeremy. And I understand Jeremy, he thinks that people, they're attacking geeks and gamers. Really, they're attacking him. Because he's the face of geeks and gamers. When you think of geeks and gamers, you think of Jeremy. Like kind of like the Daily Wire. Who's the first person you think of regarding the Daily Wire? Ben Shapiro. More than anything, when someone is going to be criticizing the Daily Wire, it's a 90% chance that they're criticizing Ben Shapiro. Because he's the face of it. He's the most popular one. He's the superstar. When people think of the Jackson 5, who's the first person they think of? Michael Jackson. Queen. Who's the first person you think of? Freddie Mercury. Okay? You have a group, you have a band, you have a business. Who's going to be the focus point? Who's in front of the camera the most? Who has the bigger voice? Who's in charge? Who's the CEO? That's how it works. So with Jeremy, when people attack geeks and gamers, they're not really attacking geeks and gamers. They're attacking him because he's the face of the company. Whether he agrees with it or not, it is what it is. But Geeks and Gamers is one of my favorite YouTube channels, okay? I love Jeremy, okay? He's a great guy. He's a very charitable person. He's very honest. I admire his honesty. That's why I subscribe to the channel, because his honesty is at a whole other level compared to other YouTubers, and he is real. He keeps it 100. Like, this guy, like, respect, props, man, props. He's himself. He doesn't try to censor himself or try to make things more quote unquote safe for people that may not like his stuff. Okay, they may be offended by it, or they feel like he's too harsh, or like if his comments may sound more conservative, quote unquote. Who freaking care? He doesn't care about that. That's great. And one thing I really like about Jeremy, he likes to be challenged. He's one of those person that will talk about, like if there's some problems going on, he will acknowledge it. He will go straight forward and talk to the person that's having beef Okay, now that's respect. Because whenever I have beef with somebody, I say like, "Hey, what's going on? What's up? Let's settle this right here." Okay. There's a lot of YouTubers that don't do that, but Jeremy does that. That's respect. I got respect for him. There's a lot of YouTubers I got no respect for. There's some that I just like man. I got zero respect for you. But Jeremy, like he's a real homie. Props to him, man. So yeah, we're gonna end this video right here, end this episode. I know I've been all over the place um, during this video, but it is what it is. That's just how I roll. All right, everybody. We will do one next time, and live long and prosper, and may the force be with you.